It may come as a surprise, but a sterilization policy known as eugenics existed in this country for years. In fact, 33 states had a eugenics program in the early 1900s. Most ended after World War II. However, North Carolina's program ran until 1974. About 7,600 people in North Carolina were sterilized, many of them forcefully. Of those, about 3,000 are alive today.
The eugenics program sought to improve the human race. They believed that the human race would only improve if they controlled the breeding process. Their goal was to do selective breeding that would better the society. This board made the decisions of who should be sterilized. The categories of the people that would be sterilized were epileptic, feeble-minded, or mentally diseased. The individuals that did not want to be sterilized had very limited appeal process. The eugenics board formed a specific target for its sterilization victims. More than half of the sterilized victims from 1929 to 1968 were women. The women that were sterilized were sought to be subnormal, promiscuous, and feeble-minded. Race didn't become the leading factor of forced sterilization until after World War II. The attention from the structure of poverty shifted away to the unrest crimes in the urban poverty of blacks. Black women were viewed as uneducated, poor, and had a higher fertility rate than white women. They were also thought to have uncontrollable sexual behaviors. These stereotypes led black women to be the main targets for forced sterilization. In the 1960s, 60% of the sterilized victims were black. The Welfare Department agreed that sterilization would reduce the payment of welfare relief and aid Department of Children. The Welfare Department thought that blacks accounted for the majority of the childbirths. Sterilizing women from a poverty community would cut down the welfare payments and the ADC payments for the department. Social workers would often provide women who qualified for ADC or welfare the opportunity for sterilization. But some blacks were even threatened to lose their welfare benefits if they did not submit to sterilization. This wasn't just for the black community. This accounted for all the people that qualified for welfare and ADC. Buck versus Bell was the case that made this whole process constitutional. This case discussed the legal rights of Carrie Buck and her mother. Carrie and her mother were diagnosed as feeble-minded people. In order to prevent these genes from passing on, Bell wanted to surgically remove Buck's fallopian tube so she could not bear any children. The legal issue was, would it be violating Buck's rights if this surgical procedure was performed without her consent? The U.S. Supreme Court ruled against Buck. It allowed the surgical procedure to be performed on feeble-minded people without their consent. This surgical procedure would not harm the patient. It was just supposed to benefit the U.S. population.
At the age of 13, I became pregnant. I was raped. When they was delivering my son, they sterilized me at the same time. They had approached my grandmother and said that if she wanted to continue to receive supplement, welfare and food stamps, or at this time they was giving out these surplus foods, canned cheese, I think it was, powdered eggs, and said that if she did not sign the X, that they were going to stop her supplements. Mind you, my grandmother was illiterate. She had never, ever gone to school. She didn't understand what it was. So she signed the X, and they did this to me. I did not find out that they had sterilized me until I was 19 years old. I asked the state of North Carolina why they did this to me, and they said that because I was feeble-minded, that I would not be able to take care of myself, I would not be able to tie my shoes, that I was just incompetent. The state of North Carolina also said that I had never performed, at the age of 13, I had never performed a day's work in my life. They couldn't get me to do anything. But at the age of 13, I mean, should I not have been in school? They were saying that feeble-mindedness is hereditary. So they sterilized me so I would not produce my kind. Mind you, I am not illiterate, nor am I feeble-minded. I never went into high school, but yet I still acquired a college degree. They also justified that my child or my children would be feeble-minded. My son is the president of his own semiconductor company. He has his own construction company. And he has his own real estate company. I mean, how can you think that your government allowing these things to happen to a person, a life? You can't say nothing, you have no rights. To me, they took away all of my rights. They sterilized kids from, my understanding and my knowledge, as young as 8 years of age. I don't know what an 8-year-old can do that could cause them to do this to them.